2 Corinthians chapter 7, verses 2 through 4, Paul's joy. Now these verses today, from chapter 7, verses 2 through 4, tie right in with previous verses from chapter 6, verses 11 through 13. In fact, you can pick up on the theme right there. The passages can be understood best as a true affection of love. Now let me read verses 2 through 4. Make room in your hearts for us. We have wronged no one. We have corrupted no one. We have taken advantage of no one. I do not say this to condemn you, for I said before that you are in our hearts, to die together and to live together. I am acting with great boldness toward you. I have great pride in you. I am filled with comfort. In all our affliction, I am overflowing with joy. Okay, so maybe you caught this. Paul repeated in verse 2, no one, no one, no one. Now, I thought about this, and this kind of reminded me of what I used to hear growing up. If somebody told you something 3 times, you better pay attention. And if you tell them to everybody, so for instance, I'm talking to you, I'm talking to y'all, I'm talking to all y'all. So this is important. So, whatever Paul's enemies might be insinuating against him, not a single Corinthian in that church could say that they had any injury, moral harm, or unfair treatment by Paul. Now we see Paul having to defend his ministry time and time again. Paul's enemies, don't forget, had their headquarters at Corinth, and this was known to be the most wicked and notorious city throughout the whole world at that time. And his enemies were constantly inventing new scandals, or always desiring his overthrow. Kind of like the political situation we see today between the two parties. Also, consider Paul's unique situation. He was not one of the 12 original apostles. He was a persecutor as well as a blasphemer of the way, a former persecutor and blasphemer of the way. He was called to be to a unique position as apostle to the Gentiles, and he was placed on the front lines in the battle for saving mankind's soul from slavery to sin. Now, also, just think about those 2 things. His enemies were relentless, and he had these 4 things that set him apart. So it was inevitable that he would be singled out for severe criticism. But think of the spiritual biography that we have inherited from what he recorded. We see similar writings in the book of Job, in the Psalms, in Ecclesiastes, but nothing that compares to the deep and varied and profound writings that Paul had. But Paul was not just writing a spiritual history, but this was the typical biography of the human heart and soul being formed and shaped and trained by the Holy Spirit to make us into the image of Christ. Now, the Christian life extends beyond this present world. Look at that expression, to die together and to live together. Is that how we normally would hear that said? No. To die together and to live together. Coming from one Christian to another, this has deep, profound meaning. Now, however the Corinthians might feel about Paul, he claims a very close and tender relationship to them. Now, why? He's got a couple of reasons. 1, he has the model of Christ. 2, he has suffered and exposed himself to danger for them. And there's a 3rd reason. Think about those that we hold in our hearts, unlike mere acquaintances. They will either bring us great satisfaction and comfort, or they'll bring us anxiety and grief by their actions. Now, the afflictions he refers to in verse 4 are likely mental duress, not just from the persecution he's getting from his enemies, but also from backsliding and straying members of the church there. You know, when we consider how much effort it takes for us to maintain our own spiritual life, we might understand how great a minister's grief can be when he has to watch over souls and watch out for souls. So we all should consider how deeply our actions might affect the hearts of those who minister for us. Now, Paul states, though, amidst all of this affliction, he has overwhelming joy. Now, that implies something higher than a human power. So where does that joy come from? I think we know it, isn't it? It's the Lord. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is I'd like to close with the high priest blessing from Numbers chapter 6, verses 24 through 26. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Thanks for watching today, and I hope you tune in for tomorrow.